Hi, I'm Rabbi Michael Barclay here at Temple Ner Simcha in Westlake Village, California, wishing you and your family a happy 4th of July, the birthday of this amazing nation. And it's such an amazing nation, especially for people of faith. And we need to remember that this entire nation is based on the idea of a Judeo-Christian value system, of the idea that everyone can observe their faith tradition in freedom. This goes back even before July 4th, all the way back to Columbus. Now, most people don't know Christopher Columbus was actually Jewish. There have been a number of books written about it. Now, that may surprise some of you, but it's true. And there's a number of proofs of it. I'm just going to share a couple with you. It was decreed that all the Jews had to be expelled from Spain in 1492. They were scheduled to leave on August 3rd, and there was a big, huge batch of ships of Jews being expelled from Spain on that date, August 3rd, 1492. Columbus was scheduled to go on August 2nd. That was a Jewish holiday called Tisha B'Av, a holiday of mourning, a bad day to start a journey. And Columbus postponed his trip so he could go with all of his fellow Jews and leave not on the day that was a bad holiday, a holiday remembering horrible things, but rather on a fortuitous day with all of his brethren. Now that might allude to the fact that he was Jewish, but there's actually something that's a very, very clear proof. In all of his private letters to his son, with the exception of one that was also copied to the king, in all of his letters, he wrote at the top of each letter the Hebrew letters Bet and Hey. This stands for the Hebrew phrase Be'ezrat Hashem, which means with the help of God. It's what all observant Jews, what we write on pieces of paper and on contracts, on personal letters, as a recognition that everything is be with the help of God, because of God. No man who was not a Jew would ever write Hebrew letters on his private letters and his private correspondence. There are a number of other proofs, but the point is that he came and he wanted to build this new country, he wanted to discover this new country, this new world. And he wanted to create a place, and a number of his writings talk about this. He wanted to create or find a place where every person of faith could observe their faith with respect, with caring, with integrity. And so we have the United States being discovered, so to speak, by Mr. Columbus. But let's fast forward to the framers, because this is July 4th. It's not Columbus Day right now. And let's just look for a moment at the depth of our framers and our founders and their religious conviction. These men were devoted to God. They were all theists. They may have been Christian or Catholic or whatever religion, or no religion, but they all had a deep belief in a divine being. Our founders are constantly quoting from the book of Deuteronomy over and over. Our structure of our nation is based on the structure of ancient Israel, the kingdom of Israel. But what I think is really fun and interesting, just to kind of look at it, is we know that on July 4th, the Declaration of Independence happened, but also on that day, 3 men, Adams, Franklin, and Jefferson, were asked to design a seal for this new nation, a great seal for this new nation. And they did. Now, this was not the seal that ultimately was approved, but their original seal, to use Ben Franklin's own words: Moses standing on the shore and extending his hand over the sea, thereby causing the same to overwhelm Pharaoh, who was sitting in an open chariot, a crown on his head and a sword in his hand, raised from a pillar of fire in the clouds reaching to Moses, to express that he acts by command of the deity. This image that you just saw, this was the original proposed seal by Franklin and Jefferson and Adams. See, our framers, our founders, they viewed this country and they viewed themselves like the ancient Hebrews getting out from the yoke of Pharaoh. Only in this case, they were getting out from King George. They were coming into the wilderness of freedom, into the joys and responsibilities of a republic, of freedom, of liberty. It's what they were devoted to. It's what they devoted their lives and everything about themselves to. And we need to remember that today. We need to remember that this country has been better for people of faith than any other country in the history of the world. In terms of it hasn't been a religious country, but rather respected all religions. Congress shall make no law that establishes an official religion. Rather, we are all encouraged to practice our faith and respect each other. In these times of challenges, it is more important than ever to remember that lesson, that this country was created so that we could all worship in our own way the deity. This is a holy nation. And we need to also remember something else from our kings, from our founders. They did not want a king. George Washington could have been elected forever. He chose to retire. They didn't want a king because, as Thomas Paine says in this amazing book, Common Sense, the most published pamphlet in the history of American publishing. The concept of only have a king of God is manifest in the basics of the government we need to create. We are not a monarchy. We are not an authoritarian dictatorship. People are not elected forever. Rather, we are a republic, dedicated to the values of freedom, liberty, and democracy, the same values that our ancestors in the Bible were dedicated to. This is a holy experiment, this nation, and we need to remember it and treasure it, respect it, and respect each other in our own faiths, support each other in our own faiths, and realize that we are all Americans. Although we're different, we all share that bond, thanks to what happened a couple hundred years ago on this day on July 4th. May we all be blessed to see many, many more celebrations of the birth of our nation on July 4th for decades and centuries. May we all continue to respect each other. May we all remember that this nation is actually a holy mission, a holy experiment, and an amazing opportunity for every Jew, Christian, Catholic, anyone of any faith to express and experience their relationship with God in freedom and in liberty. Happy 4th of July. I'm Rabbi Michael Barclay here at Temple Ner Simcha in Westlake Village, California. And I hope you have a great holiday and we continue to celebrate the greatness of the United States of America.